During the course of the week, I bumped into a video, and that video was about a pastor who called out a young girl whom I think should be 8, 9 or 10. So according to this pastor, he said that this particular girl was lost in worship when they were worshiping. She was so connected in worship when they were worshiping. So he had to call her out and ask her some questions. So after asking the girl the questions he had in mind, he decided to give her the mic so that she could speak to the congregation. And as soon as the girl, held the mic in her hands, she started crying while speaking in tongues. And she didn't end there. She started ministering the words of God to the people. So it was at that moment the topic for today dropped in my heart. When God uses our children, what happens? Yes. So when God uses our children, what happens? I want to tell you in this video that when God uses our children, 5 things happens. And the number one thing that happens is that God rests his hand on them. Just as the case of Samson, we see that it was because God's hand was on Samson right from his early beginning. That was why he was able to do exploits. So when God uses our children, his hands rest upon them, and this hand enables them to do exploits even in their academics. Then number 2 thing that happens is that they see visions. I remember when I was a teenager, we had this young pastor. He was he was still in the secondary school, though he was my senior at that time. I knew how he prophesied to the church, and this is because God was showing him things. So when God rests his hand on our children, they begin to see visions, just as Jeremiah did. Jeremiah was a young man who saw visions because God was using him. So number 3 thing that happens when God uses our children is that he empowers them. It's like he enters into them, he dwells in them, and he empowers them to do everything that they cannot even do by their strength. Take for example David. Right from time, God empowered David from a very young age, and he did exploits. He killed a bear and also a lion, and went further to destroy the Goliaths that terrorized his people. So when God uses our children, he empowers them to do exploits. Now the 4th thing that he does is that he causes them to hear. They would hear him, just as in the case of Samuel. So Samuel, at his early age, already began to hear God. God called him 3 times, and as a child, he didn't understand what voice was that he was hearing at that time, until Eli explained to him. So when God is using our children, he enables them to hear him part time. Now the 5th one is that he makes them to say, "Thus says the Lord," just as Jeremiah did in his time, and the young boy that I knew during my time when I was a teenager, he was always speaking what God said to the church. And even this little girl that I watched her video last week, you see, these are the 5 ways that God can, manifest himself when he uses our children. But there's another thing you need to know at this point, and which is, before God can use your child as a parent, you need to partner with him. If you look at the children we just mentioned, their parents partnered with God. Take for example Jesus Christ. After his parents received the message from God that they are going to give birth to him, the Bible recorded that because she kept those words, she was able to partner with God and build the life of Jesus in her own capacity, so that his ministry would be fulfilled. And from an early age of 12, Jesus Christ was already preaching in the temple. Or is it someone whose mother partnered with God? Hannah told God that if God would give her a man child, he would bring back the child to him. And when God answered her prayer, we see that the Bible recorded she brought back Samuel to him. Now, what about the parent of John? The Bible recorded that when Mary visited Elizabeth, the baby in her womb, which was John, leaped and she prophesied. So this is to say that if you want God's calling upon your children to come to pass, because I believe that every child that God gives us as parents has a great calling. So if you want this calling to come to pass, you need to partner with God and be able to translate their purpose to them, be able to decode their purpose and translate it to them. Then finally ensure that they be in the right company, that they be in the godly company that they should be, because the Bible said that evil communication corrupts good manner. Even the calling of God can be corrupted. Take the life of Samson. His parents, I don't want to, this not to place any blame on anyone, but I believe one way or the other that the parents might have fallen short of this principle of ensuring that their son mingled with godly people, because it was as a result of the fact that he refused to mingle with the godly people. That was what led to the fall of his calling. So having said all of this, please parents, take out your time, study your child or children to know what calling God has called them for, so that you know how to enable them to succeed. So if this video resonated with you, please give it a like. Don't forget to share it with a parent or a friend. And without any further words from me, see you in the next video. Bye.